All right, on today's episode of Locked On Avalanche StatCast, the Avalanche lose in overtime. When you look at the numbers and the analytics, you got to feel pretty good about how the Avalanche played. But does that matter? Yes and no. Let's talk about it. StatCast coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche StatCast. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first or second listen of the day. Hopefully, you've already listened to our regular Locked On Avalanche podcast where we discuss this game between the Avalanche and the Jets that the Avs lose in overtime in the blink of an eye, like we said on the episode. You didn't even, if you went up to get some popcorn or go to the bathroom, when you came back, game was over. So yeah, that's a little bit frustrating. And like I said in the opening, like when you look at the numbers, and we'll go through them, almost everything favors the Avalanche. And I know there's going to be those people that look at this and be like, doesn't matter, didn't get the win. I can't argue with you. Like that, if that's the mentality you want to take for this game, fine. But some things that you can do are when you play a game like this, and I think the Avalanche played a good game, a good, solid game against a really good, solid team. When you don't get the 2 points, you get the 1 point, you get the loser point, whatever. You can also say like, hey, if we play like that, if we played like that against this team, one of the top teams in the league, if we can play like that going forward against other teams in the league, we should feel pretty good about ourselves. Easier said than done for the Avalanche team this year because they have been so up and down. But when you're a team in any sport, there's things that you have to rally behind, and you have many things throughout the course of a season to rally behind. For a while now, and still, it is your goaltending. You are rallying behind what these goaltenders have done for you. You need to find something to rally behind for a power play that has yet to really kind of materialize into getting better. But sometimes, like even in a loss, you can look at things and say, like, I thought we played a good game there. That team's just a little bit better than us. And that was the difference. And really, when you get in overtime 3-on-3, a bad play by Nathan MacKinnon, and that's the end of it. That doesn't happen. Maybe we're talking a little bit better about, or feeling better about, the win. So I want to dive into the stats here, and like we will always do on these, start with natural stat trick, because I think they give you the most analytics and most stats to go off of. So I'll bring that up here let me zoom in a little bit here. And like we typically do with these, or we will do with these, start right at the top with your Corsis. And you look at that, and this is 5-on-5, and all 3 periods, Avalanche lead in all 3 periods. You got 17-7, Corsi for, Corsi against. In the second period, 22-16, and in the third, 20-12. If you want to bump that up to all situations, you're still leading, because I think they only had the 1 power play. I'll go double check on that. But you're still leading in things like that. If you go over to the Fenwick for your 5-on-5, again, your lead, and that removes the block shots. Just a reminder, the Corsi is all shots directed towards the net. The Fenwick is all shots directed towards the net, minus the block shots. The Avalanche still lead there for all 3 periods. So, that just, and you look at the percentages there, especially in the first, almost 71%. Almost 71% of the time you are controlling the shots on the ice. We will see when we get to individual players where that came from. I don't think it's a surprise where it came from, because those guys were just totally dominant in this game. So yeah, and it went down, dipped a little bit, so it became a little bit of a tighter game in terms of who's controlling the shots in the second. When it comes to Corsi, still basically 58% favoring the Avs, and then it bumped up to 62.5 favoring the Avs in the third. Same thing for the Fenwick. So a lot of times, if a team is blocking a ton of shots, this will kind of even out, because it doesn't include that. So where this will be inflated, the Corsi will be inflated if they are blocking them. So your scoring chances, that's your SCF, favors the Avs. That if you're looking at that like, shots, big deal. You're just getting shots towards the net. I don't want to say big deal. It is a big deal. That's what you want to do, especially in a game like this. You had to get shots directed towards Hellebuck. You had to get traffic in front of the net. And that's another thing we will see here in a second that the Avalanche did. But as far as your scoring chances, you led in all 3 periods for that too. 9-4, 9-4, 4 against in the first, 15-6 in the second, 10-6 in the third. So the scoring chances, the actual scoring chances favored the Avs. That's good. Your high danger chances for all 3 periods favored the Avs. 4-2 in the first, 7-3 in the second, 5-3 in the third. And you're even in your expected goals. Expected goals for the game, that was 2.77 for the Avs. Of course, they scored 2. And against is 1.68. And of course, the Jets scored 3. So that's where, when you look at expected goals and something like the Jets, if it's like 1.68, and then you go look at, and we will, with the money puck one, you'll look at like, okay, were those like high danger, low danger? Where did they come from? That's when you kind of like compare those two things. And so when you see 1.68, you'd like to either have given up 1 or 2 goals. And essentially you did, with the exception of that goal from Pionk in the overtime period. So as just from the shot perspective, the scoring perspective, all of this favors the Avalanche. That's good. And again, I know people will look at it and be like, oh, that doesn't matter because they lost the game. Sure. That's why I say the stats like this, they tell a story. They don't tell all the story, because the Avalanche in the end lost the game. But you can look at this stuff. If you are a coach, you can look at this stuff and bring it to the guys and be like, guys, like here's the numbers of the chances we got, the shots we got directed towards the net, the high danger chances we got. And say like, you just keep playing like that and things will kind of even itself out. You go down to the game flow here. Again, this is kind of just in chart mode. This is for the Corsi. That favors the Avalanche. You're plus 24 at 5-on-5. So you're really controlling the shots. And when it dips down a little bit, when it goes to all situations, it's around like a plus 18 for the Avs. You get over to the heat maps. Remember the last game against the Wild, where you had almost nothing? That red there was very small, almost yellow, and further out, almost in between the face-off circles. And I said then, like, you want to push that darker color more towards the crease. That's exactly what they did in this game. They put bodies in front of Connor Hellebuck. Now, the 2 goals you got were a rebound off the crossbar and an otherworldly goal from Cale Makar. So those ones were not really, they didn't benefit. Those goals didn't benefit from getting traffic in front of the net, but at least you did. And the same goes for Winnipeg. Look at them. I mean, their darkest spots on the heat map are even behind the net. So that's their game plan too. And they don't really look at nothing really like in the slot areas, like straight on from the goal. Everything's out to the wings and right on the net. For the Avalanche, it's everywhere. And that's thanks to guys like Cale Makar, who are skating all over the place. Obviously, Nathan McKinnon. But it's good to see that you have a lot of red right in front of the goal. When you switch to all situations, just blows up a little bit more. Look back to the 5-on-5. So not a huge difference, but there's something there. Now, the last one that we did last game with the Wild were the power play for the Avalanche and how it was just kind of dots. Now, the Avs, I thought, looked better on the power play, especially that first one where you had 2 great chances that when things aren't going your way on the power play, they're not going your way. I'll zoom in a little bit here. There was Mikko hit the crossbar, and then McKinnon gets one right behind Hellebuck that's going in the net, but it hits the bar, hits the post. So let's look at the heat map for the Avalanche 5-on-4. Not much different. Neither is Winnipeg's. Actually, I'm sorry. This for Winnipeg is their shorthanded chances. So they have almost as much of a heat map as the Avalanche power plays. This is them shorthanded. So they had opportunities shorthanded. And Winnipeg's power play, not much better. You shut them down. Give Avalanche credit for that one, because that's the number one power play team in the league, and the Avalanche did give up anything. So, but you don't want that. You don't want to be giving up chances shorthand. I get it happens. But again, on the offensive side of things, you're kind of just the first one I liked a little bit better. I thought I saw them wanting to move around a little bit more. And I feel like they just revert back to what they've been doing, which clearly is not working. So we'll see. That's obviously has to improve, has to get better. Shift charts, don't need to look at that. Here's the power plays. So let's take a look at those power plays. And like I said, did the Jets have? Yeah, the Jets only had one. So here's your power plays for the Avalanche. Again, you get power play 1, power play 2, and everything below that line is for that one power play. Like I said, for the most part, you want to see blue. Remember the last game with Minnesota, you had 3 power plays, all 3 power plays at the start of that. That's the face-off against the Minnesota Wild. All 3 were red triangles, which means they won the face-off. On these ones, you win the face-off. Right there, that's a plus, because you're keeping the puck in the zone right away. And then as you go along, you see there's the one shot that you got. There is a shot for Winnipeg, another shot for you. They win a face-off, and then they get another shot. So kind of your regular how it's been going for the Avalanche on the power play. Here's your second one. That's a block. So that's a shot that they had. You do get, that's a shot, but a miss, and then another block. So that one was not very good. So you started off with a good power play, and your second power play kind of, again, reverted back to how things have been going for you recently with the power play. It's just, it is what it is. And I hate saying that. I hate saying it is what it is, because you want it to get better, and they want it to get better. Firing is not the option, people. I know there's a lot of people saying that, but it's not. All right. There was so that on the ice here. No, not the ice. Where's the individual heat maps, event maps? These are pretty cool. So you can see who you can pick your player, and it'll give you dots on what they did in that game. So Lehkonen was the first one, just by alphabetizing first names. So you can see here, AB or attempted shots that were blocked. So I'll go down to Cale Makar and watch how this just blows up. That's an active player. No surprise there. So, you have just, there's a block shot. There's a shot. That's a missed shot. There's his goal. So you just go around here, and it kind of just tells you what action happened for him at that spot. So you have a lot of shots, block shots at that, but he's very active. And over on the other side here is what they did. So he blocked a shot there, and he had a giveaway in the neutral zone. But you see, and here's nothing there for the power play for him. Believe it. No, power play. Yeah, he didn't have anything in the power play. Wow. You go down to someone like Nathan MacKinnon. That's an active player there too. Had a giveaway in the neutral zone, but a lot here. Shot, or goal there. So you see that. Mikko Rantanen, active on his side of the ice. A lot of stuff there. So where is Drouin? Drouin did not have much, but then he started on that top line. So you look at that. You look, Nathan MacKinnon, all over the place. Mikko Rantanen on his side of the ice, all over the place. And Jonathan Drouin, who's playing with them, didn't do a lot to kind of make chances for himself. So I'm not saying it's a bad game by Drouin, but if the other two guys are really kind of, having their way, you want to get in on that. You want to get some more production from him on that top line. Is there anybody else I wanted to look at? Let me see what Logan O'Connor has. I mean, for Logan O'Connor, that's pretty good. You have 2 shots in close, because I thought Logan O'Connor had a really good game, and that's one of those ones like past the eye test or for the eye test is really good. And again, he's not a guy that's going to show up all the time on the stats and everything, but I thought he played a really hard game offensively and defensively. Forward lines, we'll look at that. This is there's your top line: Jonathan Drouin, Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen. And we saw how active Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon were. Look at that, Corsi, 29-13, and your Fenwick 18-8. And you can see, that's a team that's just a line that when they're out there, they're dominating. They are really dominating. So I thought the top line had a fantastic game. So I want to get over to the hang on here, the hockey cards, because I feel like that kind of shows you something. Here, where are we here? Stat cards. All right, we'll share that. Where are we here? All right. And again, this goes, you have your line right down the middle. And that's just like a score of 0. And then if you're going to the left, that's a tough game. If you're going to the right, that's what you want. So you see, like, look at Josh Morrissey for Winnipeg. That's defense. Purple is team defense. He's one of their top defenders. So he clearly struggled. Again, he's out there against our best guys. And we saw the numbers from Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, even when Jonathan Drouin was out there. They were in charge, and this kind of shows that is actually true, because he was their worst defender according to this. But for Winnipeg, you got that median line at 0, and you have guys going both sides of it. You have some guys good defensively, some guys poor offensively. Oddly enough, Neil Pionk, even with that goal to win the game, he's on the left side of this screen. You go over to the Colorado Avalanche and you'll see the change here. You get more going towards the right, but the things that are going to the left are team offense. You were carried by your top guys in this game. Look at the guys on the top of this list. Taves and that like teal turquoise color is offense. So Taves, Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Jonathan Drouin. That's all your offense. Nobody else here everybody else offensively is all on that left side. So it was your top line or nothing in this game, according to charts like this. And Malinsky, a rough game. First game back, defense, he's all the way to the left. Offense, didn't do much offensively either. And if you look at the game score, like I said, they give you a game score. 0 is just you were out there and you want to be plus. So your top 2 guys, Devon Taves 3.61 is his game score, and Cale Makar 3.51. And if you remember the game against Minnesota, a lot of this was Minnesota players. I think it was like you had to get to 10 guys before you got to Nathan MacKinnon, who was like 1.21 in that game. So you see a lot of this stuff, and you competed in this game. You lost in overtime, so of course it's going to be close and good numbers. But when you look at stuff like this, and if you're not a stats person, I don't know why you're watching this in the first place. But if you're not a stat person, you'll just throw all this away and say, all I care about is a win. I can't help you. And in a way, part of that is correct. But the way sports are now, the way hockey is now, Jared Bednar loves analytics. You dive into this stuff and you come away with feeling like we lost in overtime, but we can use a lot. We play like this. You want guys like Jonathan Drouin to put in a little bit more offensively. Stuff like that. That's where you can kind of individualize it and kind of just bring it to them and be like, this is what we need to do. But overall, these are not bad numbers for the Avs. They're not bad numbers at all. And then the last thing we'll do here like always, is our trusty money puck. So let me get that shared here. And money puck. There we go. We'll start with the playoff wheel, and we'll just kind of check in on this. That's all we're really going to do, because even with the loss and getting the point, the Avalanche percentage went up. Pretty sure they were 78.2 after that Minnesota game, and you get the 1 point, and you went to 79.9. I think we're all pretty comfortable that the Avalanche are going to be a playoff team. You'd like to see that number be where Winnipeg is at 99.8. But essentially 80% chance of making the playoffs. You will absolutely take that. And even, like I said, you get the 1 point, your number goes up. We're always going to end these things with my favorite thing, and that is the deserve to win-o-meter. So we're going to see how this goes in real time. They're simulating 1,000 games. I feel like the Space Odyssey music should be playing while this is going, but you see that, people. You see where it's already going. 1,000 games, 67% of the time, the Avalanche win that game when it's simulated 1,000 times, and they take into account average goaltending. And that's where it's like, okay, that's the huge difference, because it's not average goaltending when you have someone like Connor Hellebuck in net. But that's the point. That is the point. That's another point. You play that game against an average goaltender or anybody else, a lot of those shots are going to see the back of the net, or more of those shots, not a lot of those shots. More of those shots are going to see the back of the net. But that's the difference he makes, is all things considered, all stats considered, you win that game 67% of the time with an average goaltender in net, because a lot of these things favored the Avs. A lot of it favored the Avs. So I can't be upset with how they played. And you just want this to continue. And we've been saying that all year long. So it's been an up and down how they're playing game to game type of season. And we'll see what happens. We said it on the episode that, now they go on the road for 3 games out east. And we've seen it in the past that the Avalanche, that's kind of when they kind of rally around one each other. And even though it's a 3-game road trip, it's a tough one, because you have a weekend back-to-back afternoon games. And then you have 1 day off, and then you go play the Islanders. So 3 games in 4 days. Sometimes that's what these guys want. We'll see. And we'll see if that can be a turning point where you just get more consistent play like this. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So we're going to wrap that up. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these and kind of getting some info out of them. I just like doing it. So, all right, we'll be back. Kyle and I will be back tomorrow, discuss anything going on in the Avalanche world. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with Kyle.